everybody. My name is Lisa Burwell, and I'm your host of VIE Speaks, Conversations with Heart and Soul. As the founder and editor-in-chief of VIE Magazine these last 14 years, I've had the great fortune of meeting so many amazing people, being able to showcase and publish them in the magazine. And this podcast just gives us an added layer to go deeper and have real conversations with people. I'm proud to introduce to you one of our Brand Alliance partners, Brad Reese, founder and owner of the Walton Group, under the flagship of Berkshire Hathaway Brokerage, to the show today. He's a very interesting and lovely guy. Brad, welcome to the podcast.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, glad to be here. I know you had a lot of traffic today, but that's okay. You made it. That's
good. We're getting into season.
Yes. Spring break is upon us, but that's good.
Correct.
So, Brad, how long ago did you open your Walton Group?
So it's a good question. I actually started as a single agent with Premier Property Group about 4 years ago, and made a few changes and finally found my way to Berkshire Hathaway about 2 years ago, and I opened the Walton Group, and it was a very good move for me,
Yes,
from a business perspective.
It was, with the large number of over $2 billion that your company is able to tout closing last year is a phenomenal success story. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
our owners, and CEO, Jimmy, Hunter Harmon, JD,
Yeah,
Price.
they're great guys.
They've done a good job of building a company, and they,
Yes, they have. Yeah.
to sell over $2 billion in one fiscal year is
It's
pretty amazing.
phenomenal. And then your own group actually is responsible for a good $70-80 million of that amount of money. So
Correct.
you were hustling and moving and grooving yourself last year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were.
And so in past conversations with you, especially when we first met too, I was really moved by like how authentic and how much passion that you had when describing your ethos to your business, which is not worrying about selling anything, but more worrying about cultivating and keeping good relationships. And I could tell it wasn't a sales pitch when you were telling me that. I could tell that it was very authentic, and you really do run your business that way.
Yep.
And then I'm sure as a leader of your own, of the Walton Group, then you instill that in all of your team members as well.
Which I try to. Yeah, for sure. So look, when I first started, it was a game about trying to chase commission checks and having not clear motives, and it wasn't a good way to do things. And I've quickly learned that if I can, kind of get to the root and be good with who I am and work hard and treat people the way I want to be treated and bring them into the fold like family and work hard for them,
Right.
and create relationships and not worry about the business or financial side, just like look after people like I would want to be looked after, especially being in a secondary home market, because a lot of people are not here full time, so it's tougher for them, so they need eyes and ears and a representative on the ground when they're trying to do things, like buy a house or understand the market. It's important to have someone that knows.
Right. And you are a second generation realtor,
I am.
with your mom being in the real estate business and your sister also in New Orleans. And so growing up then, when you watched your mom as a realtor, did you actually know or think that you wanted to follow in her footsteps?
I had no idea.
Okay.
No. I was just very, very.
But it's in your blood. It's in your DNA, right?
Yeah. I used to help her in college. In fact, she started in Arkansas, and she was a top producer in Arkansas. She did really well, and I used to help her go put signs up, and I was like a little errand boy for her if I needed cash in college, and I kind of watched how hard she worked, and it definitely resonated. And I just remember, when she started her brokerage in New Orleans, which is called Reese and Company. Her and my sisters own it. It's located in the Lower Garden District. They're the same type of work ethic, and they're also the same type of mentality of like we service friends and family, and we focus on the relationship.
Mm-hmm. So how surprised were you in the last couple of years when our market took off like a rocket?
I was absolutely. When we first hit COVID and everything shut down in Florida, I was like, I was scared. I thought my business was going to be affected. I didn't know at first. I really was was worried.
Yeah, I was too.
The economy, I thought, was just going to take a huge hit, but the opposite happened.
I know, we were so blessed.
I mean, the amount of growth that we've seen in the area. And look, it boils back to, and I've had a lot of these conversations with people from New York and Chicago and, places that were heavily shut down and heavily densely populated. They saw great value in Florida. And, our prices didn't scare them, coming from a New York market or a Chicago market or big.
Or California. It doesn't scare them at all.
We've seen them from, all areas of the U.S. And, I think Florida and Texas have had a lot of people, once it had opportunity during COVID to work remotely. We're like, where do you want to live? And, some of them for tax purposes, but Florida's certainly appealing in that sense. So you kind of peel back to even the Southeast, which we've fed for so long, is if you're working remotely over the last 2 years, where would you want to live? Where do you have the best memories? And where do you, if you could pick up and move right now, where would you move? And you and I are lucky enough to live here, so we don't really question that as much. But someone who's been, stuck in an Atlanta condo, kind of going 9 to 5, and has been allowed to work remotely over the last 2 years, and the corporate model's kind of shifted on its head.
What do you think is going to happen with that now? Because now that I'm hearing, more and more people going back to work and like a big shift is happening again, do you think that's going to change, or do you think the remote model or a hybrid of it is here to stay?
I think we've got a hybrid. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that are always going to want to go into the. I mean, I need to go in the office. I need kind of to put the blinders on and go in.
Right.
And I think there are always going to be those people, but I think there are a lot of people who need to be able to juggle their everyday lives on a different level and do it very well from home.
Right.
Like I've seen some staggering numbers to where people are, equally, if not more productive in 3 days a week as they are in 5.
Right. And then for some people, though, it's the opposite, because it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think, too. So I don't think it's like as across the board. But for a motivated person that just wants to get the work done and then have like some life to live too, I think it's like a beautiful situation.
Family, kids, you got a lot of things moving parts. I mean, you got two parents working. And 3 kids. It's a lot.
Right. So tell me about. We were talking a little bit before the show started, where our market that has, for as long as I can remember, has been known as basically a vacation market. And the full-time residents were pretty small compared to the demographics that we enjoy coming to our area every year. And then with COVID, a big, huge paradigm shift happened.
Sure.
And that was great for us, I think, on many, many levels. One, because I think it needed it for our infrastructure to have more people that wanted to be here full time, or just have a second home that they weren't going to put on the rental market. So what do you think the future holds for that shift? Do you think it's going to be half and half? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we did see a big shift, and it kind of draws back to what we were just talking about people, if they have the ability to work from home and they're just as productive and they're like, where do we want to live? It's like, we want to live on 38. Like that, it's, one of my, one of the most beautiful places. Every time I come over here, it's, when I didn't live here, it was an amazing amount of peace when I came back. So that, a lot of people have that same feeling. So that mixed with, we were already, even pre-COVID, we were the sixth fastest growing county per capita in the U.S.
What are we now?
I'd have to look into that, but that was even pre-COVID.
Right.
So, and then you throw in another wrench of, being able, to have these variables like work from home and be in Florida, and it's a double whammy. We've kind of like absorbed a lot of different angles, but I think we were already on a trajectory of substantial growth.
Well, one of the things that happened in the last good 6 months or so is a lot of people are talking about the supply and demand problem here, that it's being exhausted, the demand. So prices continue to go up. But there are some things that are projects that are on the market right now, and you have a couple of them
Sure.
that are on the market too. So everyone wants to hear about new things that are going to be available. Want to share some of those with us?
Yeah. So you and I are in the same boat. We both are representing Heritage Dunes. You've got some really exciting, beautiful new projects coming in, and
Yes.
and I do too. So 155 Heritage Dunes, SIA Design Group. It's about 4,200 square feet, third tier Gulf views, like Crow's Nest. It's concrete block construction. It's going to be finished out beautifully.
Yeah, I love the model that you have and the renderings that you're using for that too.
Yep.
Is that going to be furnished?
It is.
It is.
Yep.
Okay. Who's going to furnish that?
The idea is to have some input from the buyer, kind of closer to completion.
Okay.
Once we get CO, we would like to if we have to do it ourselves, we're fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the owner's knack is he's great at picking out and going,
Because he's an architect.
Yeah, he's an
Yeah,
architect.
right.
So, and we also help with that too. So
Right.
we'll give some kind of guidance on some areas that we know are hot in the real estate sense.
Well, for our listeners, let's just tell them a little bit about this enclave called Heritage Dunes on 30A, which to me, I don't know if this is the right word, but I've lived here for almost 30 years now, and I really didn't know of Heritage Dunes before, that backs up against Clay 30A
Yep.
on the fork in the road there. And it's this gem of a gated community, non-rental, and really quite beautiful. Beach is beautiful there. And it's this peaceful place, and I think it's like definitely having a resurgence or I don't even know, not even a resurgence, just like it's a completely different brand almost.
Yeah.
Because so many people that are coming to our market want to live in a gated community and they don't want rental. But prior to COVID, that wasn't even a topic that anyone talked about. I never really knew that many people who wanted to live in a non-rental gated community. So isn't that part of the reason why all of a sudden, coupled with the beach and it's beautiful, that this is like a very hot piece of property right now too?
Yeah. So there's a big crowd that have owned and been vacationing, true second homes that don't really factor in rental income too much. That live down here or that have places down here. You see large crowds of them in Rosemary and Alice, and come down here and don't really rent out. The more that you see the density kind of grow and the lack of privacy in something like Alice or Rosemary, we're seeing some people flip out into some of these gated communities like Watersound. Watersound's been hugely popular. We've seen a lot of Rosemary owners transition over to Watersound, and it's the same with Heritage Dunes. Heritage Dunes is boutique. It's a very, very tight-knit community. It's just a few home sites. It's an interesting kind of history just to kind of go back into it. The owners and their vision for it, and when everything kind of hit the stall back in the mid to late 2000s, 2008, everything kind of stalled. So
Yes,
it was just
the Great Recession.
Yeah, so it was certainly affected by that, but you kind of watch these communities start to pick up some momentum as the market picks up momentum, and it still hasn't reached its full potential.
No.
And that, the quality of builds and the owners that live there, and it really is. It's going to be there's not much inventory. It's not going to be much inventory, and once it's done, good luck trying to get in there.
Right, exactly. So when is your home going to be finished? August. Okay. So the show home is also supposed to be finished in August too. So I think that is like the most kismet timing for all of this, because two really coveted pieces of property and beautiful homes are going to be on the market pretty much at the same time.
I mean, yeah, and they might not even
Make it.
Yeah, might not make it. I mean, with the lack of inventory, you're going to get incredible interest on your home. We've already got incredible interest on
Right.
our home. We've already got offers.
Right.
Um,
So let me give a shout out here to Bellamari developers who own the home,
Yep.
and then Grand Bay Construction, who you must know, Chris Birch and his team, who are building the home and also have built numerous homes in Heritage Dunes as well. So the V Show home is the kickoff to 8 other homes that Carl and Tamara Tricoli, who are Bellamari, are going to be developing too, and they're all going to be coming out of the ground like in a succession, like maybe 2, 3 at a time, actually starting in the next couple of months too. So a lot of momentum is going to be there, and then you're going to be there too. And I just think it's great because you can just tell that is somewhat of an organic ride that's going to happen with that right now. Right time, right place, what people are looking for, for everybody. You, us, them, and everybody else. And then the homeowners who are going to end up living there, it's going to be a perfect match for them.
High quality builds. I mean, what
Yes.
you're doing, what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing concrete block construction on the south side. It's all real stucco. Everything is built, overbuilt, and the finishes and the interior elevations are going to be really spectacular too.
Fantastic.
And also the architectural design from the exterior elevations are.
Yeah.
Both of our homes are like
Right,
they're going to
right.
be
I have
sharp.
to give Burwell Associates a shout out too, because I get in trouble on that, seeing as we're related. So you have some other projects too.
Yep.
Tell us about those. I mean, and you have inventory, which I love talking to a realtor who has inventory because you have to have it.
We gotta plan for it.
To plan.
Yeah, we got to stay ahead of the curve. So the really exciting new stuff is going to be coming in Camp Creek, and that's also going to be non-rental. So we've got some investors that are gobbling up lots left and right, and we're already kind of in the architectural design phase with the lots that we've already purchased, and there are plans to purchase more. Really exciting, big lots.
Are they an acre each?
No,
No?
they vary.
Okay.
It's typically about 1/3 of an acre, which down here is
Yeah, it's like an acre.
yeah.
Yeah.
1/3 of an acre
It's a lot of land.
It's like is an estate-sized lot for us. So big lots right on a world-renowned golf course, Camp Creek on the east end. It's so much infrastructure is going in on the north side with Publix and the hospital and farmers market and all the vendors and commercial, and that area is going to be huge.
How many lots are in that new development?
Camp Creek.
Yeah, the one that you're talking about with the large lots.
So we've only released a few phases so far, and I'd have to look in the exact number, but I can get you those numbers at kind of a later date. But we're going to have, I think, at least 3 or 4 more phases.
Oh,
So yeah, we're in phase 2. We're actually in release 2 of phase 2.
okay. And this is the St. Joe property for people who don't
St. Joe.
exactly know what we're talking about in Camp Creek, who have done amazing projects in our area and have a projection for growth that is so startling. It's hard to even imagine how many homes they're projected to build
Yep.
in the next 5 years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, they've got like 1,000 units coming in on the north side. St. Joe's got the new, I think it's called Longleaf. Longleaf Pine, I believe, is the new development that's kind of in the works right now. That's going to be just north of Origins. So a lot of reasonably priced, or for the general market. Camp Creek on the south side will be the higher end homes. Yeah, but it's a good opportunity to get in and buy a lot and kind of build a house the way you want it. So I highly recommend, if you're patient and kind of want to do your own thing, come talk to us. We can help you get in there.
Good. So you were an avid angler and love boating, and your 4 adorable dogs, right? 4 dogs?
Yes.
Yeah, and your girlfriend, Jennifer. So we've gotten to know each other a little bit since you've been in the magazine, and we thank you very much for being one of our brand partners. I think you do an amazing job at everything that you do, and you can tell that you love the area, and you can rep it like nobody's business, because you can tell, you generally are enjoying life here.
So there's a couple things. Thank you, number one. Number two, yes, I lived here. I moved here in 2014. I used to always visit as a kid, kind of growing up. And it started off in Destin was the original spot we used to go to. And then it kind of migrated in the 90s to Sandestin. And then it's kind of slowly moved over into 30A as we've gotten older. But I had an opportunity to move here in 2014. I had a corporate job, and I knew I wanted to get into real estate because I was watching what was going on, but I didn't have the knowledge or funds to be able to kind of take that first leap. In fact, I remember I sent you an email probably several years ago when I first was interested in advertising with you, and I couldn't afford it.
I'm really glad you can afford it now.
I know. Well, here's the deal: is it kind of gets back into why we're successful now. Is we've taken risk, and we have
taken a lot of risk.
Taken the money that we have made in our business, and we reinvest it in our marketing.
Yes.
And we partner with people like you that are.
Well, thank you.
An amazing tool for us. And I always knew I wanted to do it, but back when I first started, I didn't have the money to even send out mailers or do small things. It was just too much.
Right.
So I had to kind of slowly save up and then do little things and bite off little bigger pieces.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got the tap on the shoulder from you that there was a space. And
awesome. I'm so glad. I love your ads too. I think they look so good, and you're a real go-getter, and I love the brand. I love your company too. So.
But to get back onto the boating question is yes. So I moved here in 2014, and I never had a boat until probably a year and a half ago, and I didn't really appreciate South Walton the way I knew it needed to be until I got a boat. Because until you can get out and travel via water through the bay. You can take the Intercoastal Waterway to Panama City. You can take it really anywhere. And you really get a different sense of how beautiful this area is.
Exactly. And even like the parks, the state parks, and the nature trails and everything. I mean, without experiencing that, you really only just have one dimension of like 30A, which is beautiful and restaurants and all that. But there's a whole lot more going on here, and will continue to. I mean, I think the area is growing up a little bit as well with the new influx of people that are here that are going to want different things. I think our schools have become so much better over the years, and they've kept up with the need and the ability for offering like a really, really good school system for kids here.
Well, and I'll tell you from the full-time perspective, Bayfront is like one of the hottest, some of the hottest inventory on the market.
Right.
We focus a lot on the Gulf and 38 corridor, but man, I tell you what, you start branching over into the Bay. There's a lot of inventory, or there's not a lot of inventory.
No, okay.
There's a lot of there's a lot more homes if you factor in the coastline of the Bay all the way over into Destin. It's significant.
Yeah. What's going on in the Destin market too? I mean, I'm kind of stuck in my little bubble here sometimes with 30A, but I mean, is it the same?
It's
Stronger or equal?
I wouldn't say we've had the rate of, appreciation as, but the interesting thing about Destin and Miramar is the rental numbers were pretty much the same. So from an investor standpoint, like you can get in at a little more reasonable price, and you can essentially do the same numbers at what you might do on 30A. So if you're an investor, I always kind of nudge people to be like, get outside of 30A, maybe go look at the Destin market because some of these big homes are doing $300,000+ a year, and they're not quite as expensive as some of the 30A homes.
What about Panama City Beach and beyond? What do you think of that? Do you do anything over there?
It's pushing that way.
That's what I think too.
It is too. It's just a matter of time. I mean, I think you see some people are already trying to do stuff over there. They don't have the numbers that we do, and it's hard to support, especially with the, with the increase in prices and materials and stuff like that. There's a little bit of a disconnect in trying to be able to achieve some of the numbers over there that you do over here.
Correct.
So until it gets to that point, but I mean, you have pockets. I mean, it's
investors.
Carillon Beach is beautiful. I mean, that is like and then it pushes over past, further east past that, and it started to kind of like slowly seep that way. So,
It will. I mean, time will develop that.
the Panama City Beach crowd is one of the most loyal crowds. I mean, you see those people that just come to Panama City Beach every year, and they love it, and they love, Panama City Beach has really cleaned up their act. I mean, they've kind of cut out on the old stigma and reputation that they used to have.
Yeah.
Of just being
The
just
spring
huge
break
crazies.
crowd, yeah.
I mean, they've cleaned up their drinking on the beach and
Which
the
is helping.
mopeds. It really is. I
Yeah.
mean, they're really shooting for a different
Demographic.
demographic now.
Yeah, definitely. So in the 30 questions with Brad Reese and their holiday issue, you had said that one of your favorite developments right now is Communities as Kaya Beach and Resort. Tell us about that, why you love it so much.
Oh man, it's amazing. And I show homes in the highest quality homes on the market down here consistently. We're in and out of homes on a daily and weekly basis, and you become a little bit jaded on what you've seen, and everything kind of becomes just
Gorgeous
runs together.
mansion.
It's like it's cool, but like we don't. Jason Romero with Kaya, and we actually represent him. Berkshire Hathaway,
Yes.
our brokerage does, and what he's doing over there. It's just that mixed with the architecture, with Marianne and
The boats.
the boats. So that with their level of execution, it's a little more bang for buck than Alice Beach. So like. It's boutique. It's smaller. It's not 800 home sites feeding that beach club. Right now, I think it's like 120, and so that feeding down into these larger home sites, bigger layouts. Boutique. It's really got this beautiful guest owner services like white glove, like. They'll bring you groceries before you come down. You just call them. They put them, stock your fridge. They take care of everything in your house. Like it literally is. You show up and you just, their goal is to have just peace of mind. And it mixed with this beautiful architecture that's like so clean on the inside and European cabinets and just, it literally is. It's just walk in and you're in a magazine.
Yeah, it is really quite beautiful. And they are they underway yet with the beach club, or is that still?
They're getting close.
Yeah.
We're getting very close. In fact, I've got a client who bought one of the most southern villas, and they're so excited.
Oh, I bet.
Shout out to the Petersons.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so one of the questions that Jordan posed to you in your article was, that's Jordan Staggs, our editor I'm referring to, was, what did you want to be when you were a kid, when you grew up? And your answer was an astronaut.
Yep.
So, are you disappointed?
No, I think my mom is a little bit, but no. I was actually I was born right when the Challenger blew up. So,
okay.
Yeah, January 28th, 1986. The Challenger, in fact, my mom was in labor, and they came in and were like, the Challenger just blew up. And so that's always kind of resonated with my family, and my mom always thought, because it was auspicious, she thought I was, going to be an astronaut. And I think I've always gravitated towards it. And, I look up in the sky and I see a fighter jet, an F-35 flying above me, and I'm like, dang it, I missed my calling.
But you're doing okay.
I'm doing fine.
You're doing
fine.
on the ground here, yeah.
I think the goal would be someday is to get into,
Oh, yeah, you can take a ride now. This is going to be travel tourism.
So the goal's not dead. Just
you'll get there, not right
not
now.
A NASA astronaut,
Right, but you will get there. Well, you've been awesome to talk to, and we hope our listeners and viewers got a piece of the behind the scenes of all that's going on here with one of the top realtors in our area, Brad Reese, with the Walton Group and Berkshire Hathaway. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.